Welcome to this week's episode of Start Scale Succeed. And today I'm chatting with two co-founders, Leanne and Amy, the founders of Naked Biotics. And we are going to be talking about how they started their journey, the challenges that they've got, and what's next for them as a business. So ladies, girls, thank you so much for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. We're really looking forward to the podcast.
So tell me, what is Naked Biotics?
So Naked Biotics is a liquid probiotic supplement. So it's a daily supplement that you have. It's a 30ml shot and that we recommend having every single day. And we call it your daily dose of life. So you've probably heard the term gut health. It's been a bit of a buzzword for quite a few years now. It's an organ that is undergoing a lot more studies now, and people are realizing the importance of your gut and what it can do for your day-to-day life. And we've very much jumped on that bandwagon. And yeah, it's a liquid probiotic shot. So it's packed full of 12 strains of friendly bacteria. We ferment the product for a 21-day period, which is very unique to our brand. We then add in a blend of herbs as well. So you've got all the benefits of the herbs as well as the strains of bacteria. We then put this into a daily shot, and it's a fantastic product with many, many benefits.
And you started the brand in its initial form in 2018. How did it come about, and what's your background as two people and how you came together?
Yeah, so it did. It started, the brand started in around 2018, but actually myself and Amy's business journey started many years before that. So we've been best friends for about 25 years now, and we first went into business together just over 10 years ago, and we opened up a hot yoga studio in our local town. So very much have always been in the health and wellness space. We've both got a huge passion for everything health and wellness, and also sort of spreading that love to other people, and inspiring them to take on their own health journey. So we opened up Hot Yoga House 10 years ago. And at the studio, we used to sell probiotics, but in a capsule form. So we were taking them every day for around 6 to 8 months. At the time, gut health was sort of just getting out there. We knew that they were good for us, but we didn't necessarily feel very different from taking them. So Amy then went on a trip to South Africa and discovered the liquid formulation. So we both started trying that along with some other friends and family. We actually stopped taking the capsules and started taking the liquid. And just over around 3 weeks, we felt incredible, and we actually felt benefits, and we were seeing differences in our lives. Interestingly, we had very different benefits. And for us, because we had that like for like comparison between the tablet form and the liquid form, it just opened up a lot of questions for us. So we got very excited. We jumped online and we did a lot of market research. It raised questions like, why is gut health so important? What is gut health? Why, for me personally, why did my anxiety levels decrease when I started looking after my gut health? At the time, had no idea about the strong connection between the gut and mental health. Also for us, why is a liquid so much stronger than a tablet? What's the difference, and why did we not feel anything with a capsule, but we felt a huge difference with the liquid form? And also a big one for us is we were yogis. We did yoga all the time. We drank our green juice. We thought we were really healthy and fit and well, yet our gut microbiome was completely out of balance. So for us, that's sort of where the journey began. And we went on a mission to inspire other people and get them to look after their gut health as well.
Amy, I mean, the whole gut health, I know very little about it, right? So in terms of how does that manifest itself in terms of your health, or how you might be feeling if you don't have a healthy gut?
Sure. It's a really great question, and one that we're continuously learning today. When we first looked into what gut health was, or thought we understood what gut health was, it was, really purely down to your digestive health. Are you constipated? Oh, you might not have a healthy gut. Or do you have IBS? Or do you have Crohn's disease? It was very targeted towards your typical gut health issues that are related more to digestion. But as Leanne just briefly touched on just now, what we are learning every day is that the gut is so much more than just your digestive system. It's your home to your serotonin levels, which is your happy hormone, which is where we were just mentioning about your stress levels. If you do have a good serotonin level in your body, then you're going to be naturally feeling. That is also where our immune system is. So if our gut health is out of balance, then we are going to be prone to feeling worse, being more unwell. And that is just purely down to, as Leanne mentioned, having an imbalanced gut or not having a good diversity of good bacteria in your gut, so that we can fight off the bad bacteria or anything that might enter that are causing us these health issues.
Starting a product business is so much to consider and to do and to tick off. When you were starting out, to make sure that this was a good idea, what kind of market research did you do?
So we discovered this liquid probiotic. I was having it, Leanne was having it, and my gut health was not as good from the digestion side of things. Leanne was, as she mentioned, had anxiety, and so her gut health was also out of balance. So when we tested the product with friends and family, we would come across friends or family members say, "Oh no, I'm okay. I don't have any gut health issues. Give it to someone that might have IBS or something known." But then, my father, for example, he tried the product over the course of a couple of months and has arthritis. And he said to us, "Oh my God, my knees are okay. I can feel that my knees are okay." And, discovering more about the gut health, like, it's all inflammation. So the inflammation has been reduced, and therefore he's really feeling these benefits from the product. So it really can be quite broad. And when we have had that feedback and that market research from really just close friends and family, we thought, wow, this is not just for someone that, is constipated or has digestive issues. It really does go a lot broader than that. To then realize that it is really for everyone.
It's almost something that should be prescribed.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Rather than pills and whatever, something that should be more prescribed by and should be more well known. I mean, like I said, I know some people will know lots about the gut, but I don't, like that when you were talking about, it's if you've got IBS or if you've got an issue, you take it. When you were starting out, what were the kind of challenges that you came across?
I thought
when you're starting out. When you're starting a brand, there's a lot of, like I said, things that you have to do. And what were the main challenges that you found that you had to overcome?
The actual date that we launched the product was around the same date that the whole nation went into lockdown in COVID. So that was for sure our biggest challenge. We absolutely love networking. We love going to all different sorts of events. So our business plan and our launch strategy was very much that. We had a great launch day planned in a fitness studio in London. We were getting a lot of influencers together, and we were really excited for the day. And lo and behold, a few days before, the whole thing got cancelled and we had to move online. So, I mean, everyone experienced their own version of that. I remember that week so very well myself. And even as a person, you're kind of overwhelmed with this anxiety of what the hell is going on. We had to move our whole yoga business and platform online in the same week, and also navigate our launch for this brand in the same week. So that was definitely a challenge, and sort of changing that and moving forward online rather than in person, which definitely had its benefits eventually, but it was just sort of figuring that out. On launch week was quite challenging.
Yeah, and we were so we didn't really use our platform. We didn't really use social media for business. So, whereas with the studio, it's a service industry. So we were very used to, let's go and meet people, let's go to trade shows, because this is just naturally how we knew how to run a business. So it was very natural for us to go into trade shows and meeting people in person because we were used to that. So then it's now you've got to learn to sell and deliver your business and your message and everything else online, and you have no notice. You have to do it now. So it was very quick learning and making mistakes along the way, but sometimes you get thrown into the deep end. And we really did learn during that period that you always have to be prepared for change, and you can't get comfortable with your lane that you're in, because one day it will go straight off and you have to be prepared to react for that quick change. And I think that was our biggest learning point. I'm glad it happened at the beginning.
Yeah, and business is often about that as well. How do you pivot in times like that? And not even in times like that. I think in even just in everyday business, you might have to be really set on one idea, and for whatever reason it doesn't work or something else comes up. So you just have to pivot, and having that sort of resilience and just the ability to be like, right, yeah, like we're doing this now. It's different. Let's just move and get on with it.
And I think I agree. I think that agility and that you're not to be too stuck on this is the way I'm going to go, because like you say, there's so many external factors that play into that can just send that to shit, essentially. Do you know what I mean? It'll just like, it doesn't, it can the rug can be pulled out from under you. And when you first started, the brand looks quite different. Your packaging is great, how you present the brand is great, but it wasn't always like that. When you first started, it looked quite different. Why the change? What happened?
Yeah, so that kind of goes a little bit towards the market research that you mentioned earlier. So we found this amazing product. We had a personal experience which made us very passionate about the brand. We then launched it in our yoga studio with the original packaging, and it was more to just get a sense of, is this really as good as how it sort of made us feel? Are other people feeling these same benefits? So we just wanted to get it out there, sort of dip our toes in the water. So we did. We booked into a couple of trade shows. So we were at trade shows sampling the product, and someone from Planet Organic actually came to the stand, looked at the product, tried it, and was like, wow, the ingredients in this are amazing. And you've got a really, really great product here. So we sent them some samples, and their feedback generally was, great product, but your packaging just isn't right. And we felt that as well. We agreed with that. It wasn't us. It just didn't feel like our brand. It wasn't really how we wanted to come across in the market. So we understood their feedback. We actually drove around to a lot of the health food stores in London, places like Whole Foods, Dalesford Farm, and we put our product up again on the shelf where it would be sitting. And it just didn't look right. It didn't feel premium enough for us. So it kind of went from there, and we then delved into a rebrand, and we really did the work to make it our own and make it feel really right for the UK market.
And I think that like you said, when you went around and you went to where you wanted to see your brand stocked and you put it on the shelf, and for people that are listening, your brand, your packaging, particularly packaged product, has to really stand out. And if it doesn't, then you've got to go back to the drawing board with it, because your ideal retailers is going to be thinking, right, where is this going to sit on my shelf? What's the adjacent brands? Is the customer going to pick this up? And if your branding isn't aligned with what they're about, and like you say, it didn't really represent what you were as a brand, then you've got to rethink it. But I agree, in terms, you got it out there first, and then you proved the concept, and then you spent the money on the rebranding.
It's important that the brand is aligned to other products there, but you also want your brand to stand out. So it's finding that very perfect balance between the two. Yeah. So it looks great on the shelf, it stands out, but it also does fit in, and people know what it is. When they go to pick it up, they know what it is. And our old branding, we felt like it maybe look a bit like a shampoo or something like that. Right. It didn't necessarily feel like a liquid probiotic.
Your packaging needs to actually say what it does on the tin, so that they've got a couple of seconds to understand what that does, and to really kind of be like, oh yeah, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I need. What about the finance side of things when you first started the brand? How much did you have to invest when you first started? Yeah.
Financially, from the start, we really did only invest in our product and branding, and alongside a lot of mine and Leanne's time got us into market. So we spent a lot of time with different retailers and just really plowing through, from a sales perspective, just us two together. Marketing and branding, we did spend, I'd say, probably around £15,000 to £20,000, including the rebrand and the packaging design. We spent some money on, we basically had a whole day with a great branding agency where me and Leanne sat in a room, and we stripped it right back to the very start. And they said, okay, you tell me what your idea of naked biotics is, and you write that down on a piece of paper, Amy, and Leanne, you write yours. And it was so interesting. Whereas we talk about the brand and we talk about the target market and our customer, but actually, and we've listened that this does happen sometimes with founders, you are on slightly different pages with how you perceive the brand to be.
Yeah.
And what was incredible that day is that we kind of pulled both of our minds together to create this real solid messaging and branding from pretty much day one. That we have been told that sometimes founders go back 2 years later because they're not quite on the same page, and you spent all of that money up front with two different messages, and now you're kind of then having to go back. So I would say definitely the money that we spent at the beginning on branding, yes, it was quite a lot, but it was fully worth it because it's paid off in now.
From what you were saying, I would say probably your branding and that exercise was one of the best investments that you've made. Is that something that you would agree? And what would you say has been your worst investment, either with time or money, that you've had?
Sure. When we first launched Naked Biotics, and we got an email in around 2 months after launch, and the email said, you have been selected to go into Dr. I can't remember the surname, or I won't say it for the sake of protection, the magazine, and it is only going to cost you $2,500. And oh my God, this magazine is just, they sold the dream. And full responsibility in hindsight, we were so young, we just picked up this email, we're like, oh my God, we're going to go in the magazine, we're just going to be famous, and the brand is just going to blow up, and absolutely yes, let's do it. And $2,500 later, with zero magazines whatsoever, we were just pulled into this. I mean, we get these emails all the time now. We're like,
oh no.
It reminds us of like the worst move ever.
Was it a scam, or was it? It was a scam.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah, but even if it was, I mean, I get them as well. Like when it's like a paid advertisement, essentially, that they sell it. Well, it's like an advertorial, but no, that was a scam. Oh no.
No, it was so terrible. You make these mistakes once, and then to never make them again. And ever since then, we've been like, oh, Vogue have asked us to be like getting into our research to check this. Like, oh no, it was actually Vogue. so yeah, we really did learn from that one. But yeah, full responsibility, because we didn't do our research, but we were just two like hungry founders. Oh my God, we've been selected.
You're listed in a growing number of stockists, Whole Foods and Planet Organic, just to name two. How was wholesale always part of your plan, and how did those listings come about?
So we've always been huge fans of Planet Organic and Whole Foods, Dalesford Farm. We're very passionate about health and wellness, and it's super important to us to have stores like that selling that good quality food on the high street. So we're very much into vision boards and manifesting. So they were on our vision boards even before launch. So yeah, we're very, very proud and happy to say that we are stocked in them. It was definitely a journey. It probably looks quite easy from our Instagram and things like that, getting these accounts, but there is a lot of background work that goes into it. I'd say Planet Organic was actually a super proud moment for us. I touched on it earlier, but I'll go into the story a little bit more because that one actually was a little bit easier in terms of launch. So we met them at the trade show. They tried the product with the old branding, and they then fed back that they didn't like the branding, but the product was great. So we then went on the rebrand, which took us quite a long time to get that packaging right. It was a lot of back and forth, wasn't there, with our branding agency, but yeah, finally launched. And then within a month, Planet Organic had actually seen the rebrand and the launch, and they reached out to us and said, we love what you've done, we want you in store. And that was it. A month or so later, we were on the shelf. So that was a great success story. A lot of work went into the background of the rebrand, but they very much did come to us, which was great at the time. A really good boost when we first started.
I wouldn't say, I'd say that was the easiest one. And we're like, oh, this is going to be great. We're just going to fly through all these retailers. And, 2 years later, I would say that, the key messaging here is persistence is key. I remember Googling head buyers of Selfridges or Dalesford Farm and finding the name, jumping on LinkedIn, dropping them a message, finding their email address, dropping them an email, and just introducing the brand and really hoping for a reply. And you'd wake up the next morning, look at your emails, no, nothing. And then 2 weeks later, you'd send another message. And I'm sure some of the buyers think I might be a bit of a stalker, but some of it has really worked. And, when we got that reply from Adrian and Selfridges in LinkedIn, and we were like, oh my God, he's replied. And then, you get so excited and the journey starts. And sometimes the journey starts and, you get right to the very end. We had an incredible account that we were so proud of. And we were right there at the very, very moment of them about to place an order. And the buyer, she sent us a message saying, I'm just going to hand you over now because I'm actually leaving the business today. But, you carry on. It's going to be great and good luck. And just the way that the industry works, there was no buyer to hand over to. And unfortunately, the account just got diluted and we didn't get it. So, but, you're right there. So you really have to just keep going and take the good with the bad.
Yeah, and again, trusting a timing. That was interesting with that account. We'd even measured out the shelf space that our bottles were going to take up. So we were literally at the very, very final stages, and then it didn't work in the end. But I guess you have to trust the timing, and as Amy said, just never ever give up. And I also think it was really key for this part of growing your business for other brands is networking. We go to as many networking events as we can, different panel talks. There's often panel talks where head buyers or people from the likes of all of these stores that we've just spoken about, there'll often be panels where people are sat there discussing how to get into the store. And it's just so good to network and be at as many events as possible. You never know who you're going to bump into and what information you're going to receive from someone that you meet. And that can always be really, really helpful.
And on the wholesale side of things, were there anything that you would say to people either to ask or to that you would say, oh, I wish I'd known that when we were starting those wholesale conversations?
Yeah, I think that it's really important to know your numbers and know your business. It's really easy to get caught up on the names, and kind of like we did with the magazine. You get really excited, like, oh my God, this is amazing. But actually, it might be a really big name and a really big store, but does it work for you? Does it work for your business? Because if it doesn't work for you, then it's eventually not going to work for them either. Don't get too caught up in the name. Really make sure, know your numbers, make sure that it's going to work for you, and negotiate as well. I think that's really key and really important. And also not to give up. When you first have communication with someone and you might get a bit of a knockback, don't take that as the final no. Whole Foods, for example, we sent samples in, I think 3 or 4 times, sometimes even to the same buyer, and then the lead just went quiet, but we just stayed consistent and persistent, and eventually we got there. So yeah, just don't give up. We always like to say, if the answer's no, you're asking the wrong person.
Yeah. If the answer is no, it's not got to its yes yet.
Exactly.
And where would you advise startups to invest their time and money?
100% branding. Definitely really, really strong answer there with the branding. Builds the very strong foundation. And that exercise that we've mentioned a couple of times on this call, it was just amazing. It got really to the root of the business, but also it kind of enhanced the passion that was within both of us, and it got it all out there, and our brand then evolved from that. It's just so important, the branding. We've learned this as well. If you sort of buy cheap, sometimes you buy twice. And I think with branding, it's your shop front. It's the first judgment that someone makes on your brand is from that packaging. So I would 100% say it's very, very important and worth every penny when you have good branding.
And from a time perspective, I would just say surround yourself with other entrepreneurs that are on the journey or slightly ahead of you. We have had invaluable conversations with other founders and other entrepreneurs that have been great advice for us and prevented us from making some financial mistakes, and quite the opposite, really pushed us into some gains. So I would definitely say get as much knowledge as you can, because as a founder, you are a bit of the orchestra of the band, and you have to kind of know a little bit about everything. And you don't always know that coming into a new business if it's the first company that you founded. So you're trying to get little pockets of knowledge and information as quickly as you can from as many people as you can. So, yeah, spend your time surrounding yourself with people that can support you and help you grow.
And what are the activities that you're doing in the business right now that you're really seeing results from?
I would say it's a really interesting question, and I'm actually going to flip it around the other way. Towards the end of the year, last year, we found ourselves really spending a lot of money on our digital marketing and advertising. And it was growing and growing and growing. The spend is what I mean. And we just thought, wow, this is a lot of money. And how do we know that we're seeing the results from all of this ad spend? So we've made the decision at the end of the year to turn off our ads, which is, bonkers for a growing startup. But we wanted to really understand like what social media, it's a huge, social media is so overwhelming. There's so much going on. Like, are we just feeding, money into ads that are not seeing a result? So we did decide to turn it off and just really have a look at how that was working for us. And yeah, it's done exactly what we thought it might have. We have seen a decline. So it's encouraging us now to really feel that, yes, we can now reinvest back into ad spend, and it was working for us. That's what we've really noticed over the last few months, and that's where our focus has been on.
And what do you want to start, and continue doing in the business?
I'd say we'd definitely like to stop trying to do everything ourselves, because there are people that are so much better at individual parts of the business than us. So that leads into our start, which is we'd actually like to raise our first round of investment this year, and really understand from people a lot more knowledgeable than us. So we've got a better team, a bigger team. I think continue to just enjoy the process for me. It's really important to smile every day, go back to your purpose, go back to your passion. And, if you ever fall away from that, then, bring it back. Like what is important for you? And are you living to your true self? Because you can get carried away as a founder with, external things, and just really tune back into continuing to grow the brand true to yourself and your purpose. And that passion is naturally going to fall out into, your customers and your community.
And what's next for you as a brand that you can share? I'm sure there's probably things that you're working on that you're like, we don't want to say that yet.
Oh, there are. But actually, there's it's a very exciting thing that we can share, and we haven't announced this just yet. So it's the first that anyone's going to hear of it. But we have actually been in the background undergoing clinical trials on the product, which is huge for the brand, especially when you want to get into the pharmaceutical world. And we have recently had the results back. They're actually in the process of getting written up now, but we've had some fantastic results. So we can actually now officially say that our product is scientifically backed. And yeah, we're very proud of that. So we'll be launching that very, very soon, which hopefully is going to open up a lot more doors for the business, which is very, very exciting.
I mean, that's amazing that you have achieved the science backed, and you can now say you're science backed. For people that don't know about, and I know you touched a little bit about it at the beginning about what the product can do, but just talk to me a little bit more about the product so people can understand what Naked Biotics can do for them.
So in your gut, you've got 70% of your immune system. You also have 90% of your serotonin, which is your happy hormone, is produced in your gut. The small intestine is also where you absorb your nutrients from your food, but also your toxins. Now, unfortunately, we're often surrounded by toxins, even if you're eating really clean and healthy food. Just the way that it's made now, the soil these days is often contaminated. So we are unfortunately surrounded by a lot of toxins, which can then have a negative impact on your gut health, and you can have an overgrowth of the bad bacteria. when you have that, even if you do eat clean, it actually prevents you from absorbing the good and friendly bacteria. So it's a really important part of the body to look after. So what Naked Biotics is friendly bacteria. So you have 12 strains, which is a really high amount, and it's very diverse. The gut loves diversity. We then ferment the product. So in that time, it's 21 days, and we put the 12 strains of bacteria together, and they get to know one another. So imagine them like a little community. Say sort of day one, we've only just met each other. We don't know that much about each other. However, if we were to spend 21 days together, we'd know an awful lot more about one another. And they actually start to work as a team, a really strong team. And that's what you want them to be doing when they enter the body. So it's been through no processing. Capsule form actually gets freeze dried, the strains of bacteria, so that at the time that you take that product, the strains of bacteria are actually dormant. So with Naked Biotics, as soon as you take the product and it hits the tongue, which is where you've got an oral microbiome in the mouth, the product is already active and working. We also add in a blend of herbs. So you've got things like chamomile, Siberian ginseng, astragalus, rosehip, peppermint, lemon balm. So a really lovely blend of herbs that also have fantastic benefits. So it lands inside the gut. And it helps to get rid of toxins from the body. It helps to multiply the friendly bacteria. Now, if you've got an out of balance gut, there's many things that it links to. Things like feeling sluggish, feeling tired when you wake up, having brain fog, lacking focus, a big link to mental health, so stress, anxiety, depression, your digestion, sort of bloating or food intolerances. There really are many, many things that you can relate back to the gut. So for me, when I personally started taking the product, I was waking up, I was full of energy. I was waking up before my alarm went off. I felt like I'd had coffee. I felt very energized. My mental clarity and my focus at work was so much better.
What I want to ask you then is a couple of different things about it. So from a product point of view, should everyone be taking something for their gut?
Everyone's gut microbiomes are completely unique. Tim Spector actually did a study on identical twins, and he found that everything was identical, but their gut microbiome was completely unique to them. So everyone will have a different experience with the gut. Now, over 40% of people have a gut health issue in the UK. So maybe 50 or 100 years ago, would you need a probiotic? Probably not. But the food that we used to eat was so much cleaner. It was real food. If you look now at how food is farmed, the chemicals that it's unfortunately sprayed with, the quality of the soil that it's produced in, it's completely different. So unfortunately, we are now surrounded by toxins that are absorbed in the gut. So my argument to that would be yes, that people should be looking after their gut. It is a daily thing. And yeah, I do feel that everyone should be taking a probiotic.
I think just to add to your a great point, there are known gut health issues, but looking after your gut is very much about preventative health as well. So you're really looking after your future potential gut health issues. You know, if we just continue on this sluggish feeling, like Leanne was mentioning, you know, just that bloating that you've just dealt with or sat with for years can get progressively worse and then lead into gut health issues later down the line. So being a lifestyle product, this is much about prevention as it is about healing the gut.
It really is. And just to add to that as well, you've got your immune system inside your gut. So very much a preventative health tip as well is if you look after your gut, then your base level of health, your immune system is a whole lot stronger. So that's actually another benefit that I felt from the product. After a couple of years of being on the product, actually, where I'd get a common cold 3 or 4 times a year, I'd get really sick. I don't get that anymore. I might get sniffly for a couple of days, but it's not anything like I used to. And my natural immune system is a whole lot stronger. And antibiotics as well is something we haven't really touched on now. But antibiotics may have their place and they can do, you know, great things with healing in the right circumstances, but they actually completely remove all of the good and friendly bacteria from your gut, meaning that your baseline of health is that much lower. So typically you're going to naturally get ill a bit quicker again. I actually heard the other day that in Sweden, when a doctor prescribes antibiotics, they also prescribe a probiotic. And I think that's amazing and exactly how it should be. And I know you mentioned this earlier in the podcast as well. And it's so key if you take an antibiotic to take a probiotic as well.
In terms of the products that you have, what should people be trying? If it's their first time that they've ever done it, what's the one that you would recommend for them?
Yes, so we have two SKUs at the moment. We have a Restore blend and we have a Maintain blend. Now, the mother culture, so the strain to bacteria, are exactly the same in both bottles. So the strength is the same. If you're someone that has a sensitive tummy or if you've got a known gut health issue, then we would recommend taking Restore. The only difference is the herbs that we blend with it. So in Restore, you have things like peppermint and lemon balm. They're really lovely herbs and they help soothe the stomach. So they just help with that initial detox and they're really a bit softer and nice and calm on the stomach. Then you've got Maintain, which has got a blend of 6 other herbs, things like astragalus, chamomile, Siberian ginseng, and that's very much for general maintenance of the gut. So it's great for better skin, hair, nails, focus, energy. So if you're brand new to the product and you've got a gut health issue, then we recommend Restore. If not, then Maintain.
Fantastic. So where can people, I know that you're stocked in Planet Organic and Whole Foods and you have the website. So we'll link those, we'll link the website and your socials below. And where else can people find you, Amy?
You'll be able to find us, as you mentioned, Planet Organic, Whole Foods, Dalesford Farm, Soho House, Estelle Manor, a few exciting retailers to come. So keep your eyes out, but also on our website too.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I'll be back again next week with another great guest.